Hi, I'm Elspeth Martindale here today to talk about the distorted thinking cards and how to use those in therapy. So inside the bag of distorted thinking cards are 3 sets of cards. There are distortion builder cards, ways to build a distorted thought for a client, distortion busters, how to bust that distortion apart so that you can come back to sanity, and then some basic scenario cards, benign scenarios that you can use with your client to work with the cards and building distortions and busting them apart.
What's next?
The distortion builder cards offer the 13 very common distorted thinking qualities or ways we typically as humans distort our perception of things. Things like blaming, catastrophizing, discounting the positive, emotional reasoning, filtering. These are things we as therapists are talking all the time about with our clients. And I put them on cards because I wanted it to be fun, because I get really tired of talking about this very important topic, saying the same thing over and over again. And so I play with them on cards by taking these distortions, explaining what blaming is to a client, for example, and then asking them how often they do blaming. If they do it a lot, I'll lay the card close to them. If they don't do it very often, I'll lay the card far away from them. And so then I lay out this trail of cards on the floor or on the table, identifying for them, these are the things that you do that really make you wacky in terms of distorting your thoughts. The things on this end are things you don't do very often, and aren't you happy that you don't do all these things? So just to help them see that there are things they could do that would make their life even crazier, and there are things that they better work on or their life will remain a little bit crazy.
Okay, how many cards do you have?
So inside the bag also are distortion buster cards. These are 12 ways you can bust apart a distortion and bring yourself back to sanity. Things like watching your language. What are you saying? How are you framing it? Let's look at the language. Thinking in shades of gray, and instead of being black and white in your thinking, think in terms of more moderate way of looking at things. A therapist on your shoulder. What would your therapist say if they were hearing what was going on right now? So 12 different ways you can bust apart a distortion and get yourself back to a more stable place. So also in the bag are 8 benign scenario cards. These are just situations that you can read with a client to help them examine how they can take the distorted thoughts and make a situation much, much worse. And so you could take this benign scenario and build a lot of distortion, making the story even more and more challenging to manage. Then you can take the distortion buster cards and move that disturbed situation back to a place of serenity and peace by busting apart the distortions that were created. It's a very helpful way for a client to see how they can, how distorted thinking can make things worse, and then by rationally examining things, how they can make things much, much better. It's a lovely way to talk about the really dry topic of cognitive distortions and make it playful and engaging with clients.